All right, you guys, welcome back. We are looking at absolute value equations. And if you notice here, like in Delta Math, the previous video, the problems were level 1. These problems are considered level 2, okay? All right, so we're just going to jump right in. The approach really hasn't changed, okay? But we have to now solve these equations, okay, with our absolute value by itself. Okay. All right. So if I jump right in, we're going to add 7. We're going to add 7. So I get the absolute value of 3x plus 7 equals 4x plus 7. Okay. All right. So this looks a little bit different than the ones we were doing last time. Okay. That's not a problem. Okay. It's just in how we approach our next step. Okay. And our next step is going to look like this. So I'm going to take my problems, and I know I have to solve 3x plus 7 equals, okay, and it's going to equal that problem as 4x plus 7. And then I'm going to take 3x plus 7 equals, look how I'm going to write it, negative parentheses 4x plus 7. Okay. Now, what that is that what some of your teachers haven't told you, or maybe they told you and you just kind of let that just in one ear out the other. All right. Your negative sign is also your opposite. Okay. All right. And so what's happening here is that this is the positive version of 4x plus 7. And this is the opposite of 4x plus 7, okay? Because that's what you need in here, okay? Is you need this to equal the positive version, okay? And then I need this to be the negative version for it to work, okay? And I know for some of you, you probably just sat there and went, what? If you know how to set up these two steps, you're good. All right, so now I'm going to solve these equations. All right, now variables on both sides, you can approach it multitude of ways. I like my variables on the left. So because I like my variables on the left, I'm going to subtract 4x. So that gives me negative 1x plus 7 equals 7. So that means I'm going to subtract 7. So I get negative 1x equals 0. Well, then if I divide by negative 1, well, 0 divided by negative 1 is just 0. So x equals 0. All right, now this one, I actually have an extra step. So I'm going to need to distribute. So I get 3x plus 7 equals negative 4x minus 7. All right, so I'm going to add 4x. And so that gives me 7x plus 7 equals negative 7. I'm going to subtract 7. So I get 7x equals negative 14. I'm going to divide by 7. So x equals negative 2. All right, and there are my two answers. Now, if I was being a completely solid mathematician, I would take these two answers and I would plug them back in, okay? But we've also got Desmos. So let's take this. Let's slide over here to Desmos. Let's delete out what I typed in last time. So I'm going to type in y equals absolute value. Let me hide that. 3x plus 7. And then minus 7. And then I'm going to type in y equals 4x. Okay. All right. And now I'm going to minimize that. Okay. And if I look here, okay, this is where it crosses. Okay, so there's a problem here. Okay, and it's actually not that it's a problem. Okay, I solved it algebraically and I solved it correctly. What happens is that when you solve problems now, and some of you are going to be like, oh, no, she did not. Okay, you get what's called an extraneous solution. All right, so let me write that down. Extraneous solution. Okay, all right, so I teach all of my students, and it's super simple. Okay, if you don't like the word extraneous, just look at there and it says extra. Well, that's really what it is. You have an extra solution, okay? But that solution actually just doesn't work. So when I plug it back in, it's not going to work, okay? And that's the problem, all right? Now, let me show you why it doesn't work. So some of you are sitting there going, oh, you have blown my mind, okay? Why doesn't it work? All right, so let's take -2. Okay, let's take the original equation. So absolute value, 3x plus 7 minus 7 equals 4x. And everywhere there's an x, I'm going to replace that with -2. So I'm going to put -2 here and -2 here. All right, so let's bring down everything else. So absolute value, 3 plus 7 minus 7 equals 4. Okay. All right. So absolute value, well, 3 times -2 is -6, and -6 plus 7 is 1. But here, let me just write it out. -7 equals -8. Okay. All right. So this is going to be the absolute value. -6 plus 7 is 1. All right. And then, okay, I've got this -7 equals -8. Well, what's the absolute value of 1? Absolute value of 1 is 1. 1 minus 7 does not equal -8. Okay, this is false. Now, algebraically, it worked. Okay, in terms of me setting it up and getting it going, I did all my steps correctly. It's just I didn't start off with a number that worked. Okay, -2 does not work. It's an extraneous solution. Okay. And I can see that in my graph. Okay. And I think that's where more students, I think for some of you, as now you start to absorb it, you're going to see it starts to come together. Okay. I'm telling you right now, I promise you from the bottom of my heart, I did not mess up solving this problem. Okay. But that's what happens when you take the algebraic approach. Okay. This is why your teachers told you from day one to check your work. Okay. They were preparing you for this event. Okay. Where you have solved the problem perfectly. You've got two answers, and then you go to type it in and say like something like Delta Math, or you're taking a multiple choice test, or you're taking your ACT, okay, and you've got two answers, but yet all the answer choices don't have two answer choices listed, okay, and you're trying to convince yourself, what did I do wrong, okay, and if answer choice A is 0, okay, and then answer choice B is -2, okay, and you choose B, you're going to be wrong, okay, that problem's going to be wrong because this solution does not work. Okay, so that's why it's real important. Okay, and when you look at that graph is going to give you that convincing moment of, oh, yeah, okay, my solution doesn't work because these two graphs intersect one time. That's it. Okay, and it's right here. Okay, all right. I will make a second video so I can keep these short but sweet. Some of you, this may not be all you need. You needed this one example, you're good to go. Okay, but I want to give everyone the opportunity to see me work out another one. All right, actually, wait, let me do this. Let me go back to Delta Math. Make sure. I convince you? 0. Submit my answer. Yes, look, there it is. Test for rejections, okay? He just calls it rejections. I call it extraneous solutions, okay? But you rejected x equals -2, okay? All right, so there's your convincing also too from Delta Math. All right, if you need help, you know where to find me. I'll make one more video on how I'm solving these, and good luck, you guys.